Good evening, carnivores and carnivore curious. I'm Cassandra, and this is my Apex Odyssey. Hope you had a good Wednesday, and everybody's recovering from the cold. I had a very weird night last night, and even weirder morning this morning, and I want to tell you about it. But first, I want to ask you to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done it already. It helps me out. It helps get the word out. But this, you gotta hear, because it's really strange. I gotta preface this by saying that I have been waking up with headaches a lot. I'll say that. When I wake up, a headache develops. It doesn't wake me up. And it's very strange. It's like the second that I become conscious, it's not there, but then it sort of just blooms behind my eyes. And this has been going on for months. Sometimes it lasts a few seconds or a few minutes. A few days ago I had one that lasted for a while, a couple of hours probably. I usually don't have to take anything for it just because it's pretty painful, but they go away really fast, so I don't end up taking anything. And I know I need to see a doctor about it. Dr. Barry, I know you listen to Dr. Kim Barry. He says if you have a headache, if you wake up with a headache, that might be a sign of something you need to get looked at. And I keep meaning to, but I hadn't done it yet. But I've been thinking it's probably because of the way it manifests. I'm thinking it's probably neurological. But now, I don't know, maybe it's cardiovascular. And of course, it all could be related to my sleep apnea. But according to my CPAP machine, my sleep apnea therapy is going fine. So that shouldn't be causing me to have headaches like that. But this is what happened last night. And I mean, it was wild. So I couldn't sleep last night. I did not go to sleep until about 4 o'clock this morning. I just couldn't sleep. I had restless legs. I got up 2 or 3 times to pee. I just couldn't get, restful. Couldn't doze off. So about 4 o'clock, as I started dozing off, I was feeling like I was a little short of breath. And because I've had this, sinus drainage going on, I wanted to see if I was actually short of breath, if my oxygen saturation was low. So I put this thing on. I've had this for a while. Every once in a while I'll run a test with it. This is a Bluetooth device in it. And tomorrow, the next day I can read it on my phone. Well, I didn't set it up like that last night. I just put it on my finger, and as I was dozing off, and I would feel short of breath, and that just would make me wake up instantly. It would bring me back to alertness. So I would look at this and I would see, oh, it's around 91 or 92, which is lower than I'm used to. Like before, I had the C virus 5 different times. My oxygen saturation was always 98, but over the last few years it's gotten to where it's normally just 95, but I've gotten used to that. But if it gets lower than that, I start to feel a little short of breath. And so when it's 90 or 91, I notice. And my heart rate was normal and everything. But anyway, and I was just kind of entertaining myself because I could not go to sleep. And ended up about 4 o'clock, I finally dozed off. And I ended up falling asleep with this on my finger. It wasn't hooked up to my phone, so it wasn't recording what was going on all night, but it was still running. Now, I woke up about 3 hours later, so I only got about 3 hours of sleep last night. And when I woke up, I noticed that this was still on. And I looked at it, and my oxygen saturation was about 77, and my heart rate was 170 something, 180. I mean, it was like really high. I'm looking at it like, this has got to be a joke, you know. This can't be right. It's messing with me. So I lay there for a little while watching it, sort of taking deep breaths in and, you know, trying to do like a calming breath exercises to watch and see what would happen. Pretty soon my oxygen saturation started to pick up, and within a minute or so it was back up in the 90s. But my heart rate stayed elevated for a long time, for several minutes, which I thought was really odd. And I'm just sitting there watching it. You know, it stayed around, you know, in the high 170s for several minutes, and then it dropped down to 140. And all this time I had a headache. So I'm thinking, am I waking up every morning with you know, a heart rate of 180? Is that what's making me have a headache? I don't know. That's possible. So I Googled it, obviously, and couldn't find anything serious. Some people just get it, whatever it's, I forget what it's called, but it's having a rapid heart rate when you first wake up. It could be due to a bunch of different things. It's possible. I was laying on my back, so I mean, it's possible that my O2 sat was low, and which made my heart rate get high because of the sleep apnea. But again, I get the data on my phone of what's going on with my CPAP machine, and it didn't say anything was going crazy. You know, my hypopnea index is always pretty low. So another thing that can cause it is thyroid issues. Another thing that can cause it is cortisol spikes. And I've thought for years that I have cortisol spikes in the morning. So that might be a possibility too. So this is something I may see a doctor about, but I want to do an experiment first. I want to hook this up to my phone, you know, turn on the Bluetooth and hook it up my phone and wear it tonight. I may put it on like I usually will go to bed and then wake up a couple of hours later and go to the bathroom, and I may just put it on after I do that, because obviously I'm not wearing this to the bathroom. But let me turn it on now and see what it is. It's been giving me pretty consistent and readings that I expect, so I don't think anything's wrong with the machine. Oxygen saturation is 97, heart rate is 80, which is a little bit high, but I've been sick, and when I get sick, it's normally higher. Oh, you can't read that. It's going to be backwards for you probably. But so anyway, I intend to sleep with this on until I wake up and then see what it says. See if I've been getting those low, if my oxygen's been going down while I'm sleeping. If it is, that indicates I might need to do something with my CPAP machine to see what my heart rate does. I don't know. What do you think? I'm just going to do that experiment and see what happens. Oh, and I might check my blood sugar too whenever I wake up and see. I mean, if the other stuff is high, I want to see, just curious what my blood sugar is, to see if it's low, to see if I've been getting low blood sugar in the night, which is another reason I think I read that might cause you to wake up with a rapid heart rate. And I don't think any of those rapid heart rate people were talking about 180. I mean, and it was flashing too, like wah, wah, wah. If that happens when it's hooked to my phone, The normal setting would be for it to be alarming and making noise, but I don't want it to wake me up. I want it to continue to, I want to get the, because then it'll like ruin my experiment if it wakes me up. So I gotta try to figure out how to turn off the alarms. And I can't wait to see what happens. Kinda. It's like, has this been happening to me a lot? And I just didn't know. That's so very bizarre. And interesting, too. Do I think this has anything to do with the carnivore diet? Absolutely not. It might have some stuff to do with what I've eaten, previous 50 years. But I can't imagine that it's carnivore related. But, a lot of stuff happens when you're healing on the carnivore journey, like oxalate dumping and releasing toxins that can aggravate conditions. So it might be part of the healing process, but I will check into it. But I just want to get a little bit more information first. Have you ever had anything like this happen? Any thoughts? Any cardiologists watching this video? And it might not even be, obviously it's a heart issue, but it might not be related to my cardiovascular situation. It could be related to any number of other things. So eager to find out about it. It'll be a fun experiment to do. If I can figure out what's going on to make me stop waking up with these blistering headaches, that would be awesome. Well, I'm gonna go and get ready for bed. I gotta walk the doggy one more time. And come back in and take a shower and try to read until I get sleepy. And I hope that I get more sleep than last night, because that sucks. I hate having a night when I don't get a bunch of sleep. And that used to be my whole life, and it hasn't happened to me in a while, just very rarely, maybe twice in the last 6 months. So I'm ready for that to not happen again. But I hope y'all have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next one.